Ethan and I were betrothed before we could spell childhood. Everyone assumed we were head over heels until New Year's Eve when I accidentally overheard him talking to the guys. Ivy, come on. I don't feel it. The words had barely landed when Ethan glanced down and spotted me on the stair landing. He lifted an eyebrow at the heart-shaped gift box in my arms. For me. I shoved the box into his best friend's hands and smiled sweetly. Why would it be? I don't feel anything for you either. The sky outside was slate gray, snow drifting sideways as I pulled on gloves and hugged the New Year countdown box to my chest before hailing a cab. Minutes later, the taxi eased to the curb beneath Ethan's building. I swiped in at the lobby door. A restless crowd clogged the elevator bay. Everyone was complaining that both lifts had died. I edged up to a woman in a quilted coat and asked how long repairs might take. She sighed that the tech was still out in the suburbs fighting traffic. No choice stairs it was. At the 14th floor landing, I heard the metallic click of a lighter. I didn't think much of it. I dabbed sweat from my temple and kept climbing, lungs burning. Then Ethan's voice drifted down. Why sneak out here to smoke instead of staying inside? You can pick Ethan's voice out of a chorus clear. Lazy, the last syllable tilting like he can't be bothered. I grinned, softened my steps, ready to scare him. Half a flight later, a different guy answered. Too noisy up there. His tone was lower, quieter, almost a vibration. Grandpa says, you're getting engaged. You actually into her. My heart lurched. I knew who her meant. Me. At the last family dinner, the parents had done their usual routine. Since Ethan and I are both only children, we were the toast topic. Sterling gushed that we were clearly inseparable, so why not pick a date and seal the childhood betrothal? I peeked at Ethan, cheeks on fire. He had earbuds in, slaughtering aliens on his phone, oblivious. I'd been relieved he hadn't seen me blush and disappointed because I'd missed his reaction. Now I held my breath, crept to the 16th floor turn. Like a thief, I tilted my head up. My gaze smacked straight into a pair of startled dark eyes. Jasper, Ethan's best friend, mouthed something. I shot a finger to my lips. Shush. For a flash, his eyes looked stormy, then flattened to calm. Ethan leaned against the wall, exhaled a perfect smoke ring and chuckled. You mean Ivy? Come on, I don't feel it. Casual words, but they crashed over me like iced seawater. My lungs froze. What did Ethan actually feel? I had rehearsed every possible answer in my head. Never this one. Ethan and I were born on the exact same day. Our fathers had been college roommates, so the cradle was barely warm before the betrothal contract was signed. My earliest memories are of trailing behind Ethan like a duckling. He hated it. In kindergarten, he stole my cookies, mocked my lisp, and called me a crybaby. Worst of all, he barred me from make-believe weddings. In middle school, he yanked my ponytail, kicked my chair leg, and sent me sprawling in front of the whole class. Humiliated, I vowed to ignore him forever. 3 days maximum. Then he'd show up with chocolate, ice cream, yoo-hoo, strawberry shortcake, mouth sugary, apology ready. Don't judge me. In our house, those treats were contraband. Mom insisted they stunted growth. Birthdays only. 1 bite. End of story. When did I start thinking Ethan liked me back? Probably the summer of junior year. A transfer had rolled in, honors grades, model cheekbones, height edging Ethan's. Half a semester, and he owned every girl's daydreams. One night, he jogged after me and Ethan, shoved a pale blue envelope into my hand. Before I could blink, Ethan hurled it back. He clamped my wrist and marched me home. Inside my room, he pinned me to the door. You into that type? I had no vocabulary for jealousy or pride. I only saw the rims of his eyes flushed red, so I teased. Maybe yes, maybe no. His grip tightened, almost painful. I squirmed. He let go, tossed out a single sentence. Don't like anyone else, and bolted. 6 words carved in my head for 6 years. Ever after, the air between us shifted. Friends plus lovers minus. He forbade me from chatting with other guys, banned me from handing out Gatorade at anyone else's games, and outright outlawed dating. Soon everyone believed we were madly in sync. Me included. 60 seconds ago. I thought fate had drafted me as Ethan's wife. I assumed he was waiting for a dramatic moment to confess, just protecting his golden boy pride. So tonight I'd brought the sledgehammer to crack the window open. And Ethan, he'd painted my entire youth, reduced me to a punchline. For a second I wanted to lunge, scream. If you never felt anything, why keep me on your hook? Was I just a convenience, a shadow that never asked to be seen? But I'm human. I own a heart, and it comes with dignity. 3 seconds of silence pulled in the stairwell. Ethan sensed it, glanced down and found me frozen on the landing. He hesitated, stubbed the cigarette, and closed the distance. His eyes flicked to the heart-shaped box and arched for me. I stared up, not a trace of panic on his face, sure I had just arrived. Seconds ticked. I slid my gaze past him to Jasper. White hoodie, black joggers, lips curled in that half-smile like he'd already read the script in my head. Just as Ethan reached for the box, I blinked and cooed. Jasper tilted. Ethan's hand froze midair. He gaped, speechless. Jasper chuckled softly. "Him. Right here." The syllable felt like warm breath on cold skin. By the time I climbed the next 2 steps, Ethan recovered. Furious, he fisted the hood of my down coat. "Ivy, when did you and Jasper get so cozy? Or who I hang with is suddenly his business. Under what lifetime license has he micromanaged me?" Heat surged. I pinched the tender inside of his forearm hard. He yelped. I released and rolled my eyes. "Ever since you told Jasper to drive me home, remember?" Ethan rubbed the welt, brows knit blank. I smiled wider that afternoon. I'd barely shut my laptop when you dragged me out of the studio, claiming it was a guy's birthday and I had to dress up the room. I yawned, exhausted. I pulled an all-nighter on that PPT. "Can't I skip?" He jerked his chin toward the door. "Look, they're waiting. Nap on the couch after. I'll drive you home." I'd spotted the crew waving like maniacs. Afraid of embarrassing Ethan, I could only brace myself and get into the car. So, I stayed with Ethan and his faceless guys from afternoon till past midnight again, probably just too exhausted. That night, inside the howling KTV box, I slept like a dead pig. When I opened my eyes again, I was in Jasper's car. Ethan had once again vanished to God knows where. He's always like this. When he's having fun, he forgets he's supposed to take me home. When he's on a roll, he doesn't care who drives me home. The next morning, sober, seeing I'd blocked him, he'd run to my house and try every trick to coax me. If I hadn't heard those words tonight, I don't know how many more times I'd have softened toward him. But now, this ends here, for my thoughts snapped back. Ethan leaned on the stair rail, all fake affection, reaching to ruffle my hair. Not a hint of guilt, just laughter in his voice. "Hey, don't be mad. I was drunk that night. Next time you'll be my first priority. Next time." He thinks there's going to be a next time. If Jasper weren't watching from upstairs, I would have slapped him. I coldly shook off his hand, raised my voice and bit off every syllable. "Good dogs don't block the road. Don't mess with my real business, okay?" I didn't wait to see his face. I strode straight to Jasper. "Ivy, get back here." Ethan shouted behind me. I didn't answer. I stopped in front of Jasper. I looked up. He looked down. Hearing footsteps behind, I wiggled the gift box and wheedled in a silly voice. "The hand-knit scarf inside is my very first ever one-of-a-kind in the whole world." Unlike my clownish grimaces, Jasper's ink-black eyes were soft and tender, brighter than the star-filled sky. Smiling, I handed him the box while secretly giving him a big thumbs up. Silent thanks. He was playing along perfectly. Jasper blinked, then laughed softly under his breath. The tiny dimple that peeked out was adorable. In a flash, Ethan bounded up and blocked the box with his hand. "Quit the tantrum, Ivy." "Oh, perfect. Perfect. Quit the tantrum." I shot him a sideways glare. He rolled his tongue against his cheek, growing cockier by the second. "Look at the wet spots on that box. Jasper has OCD. He won't play along and he sure won't touch something like that." He bent to my ear, coaxing. "Be good. Stop acting. I know it's for me." My eyelid twitched. I guilty glanced at the box. Snow had soaked it on the way over, and the melted water had left obvious stains. What now? I didn't know Jasper had OCD. This was about to crash and burn. My hand holding the box started to tremble. I regretted my rash move, but it was too late. I gave a light laugh and denied. "No way. I have zero feelings for you. If Jasper doesn't want it, I'd rather trash it than ever give it to you." I used his own weapon against him. The moment the words landed, Ethan's pupils flickered. No comeback possible. His face went sheet white in an instant. I looked a shade better, barely calm on the outside, a frantic knot inside. Several seconds of silence. The air froze until you could suffocate. The one who shattered it was Jasper. He said, "I want it." I jerked my head up. Jasper stretched his hand toward me, the corner of his mouth lifting a hair. "You were going to give it to me, right?" "Yes, yes, yes." Realizing he was still acting with me, I nodded like crazy and shoved the clean side of the box into his palm. But he didn't care about the stains. He cradled the gift like a treasure. Then with his other hand, he tucked the loose hair behind my ear. Softly he said, "You're sweating." My heart spasmed. His full immersion act stunned me breathless. The scene made Ethan clench his back teeth so hard they squeaked. "Jasper, what the hell? I thought you had OCD. Was that fake?" Suddenly my waist felt a firm pressure. Jasper pulled me into his arms and answered without hesitation. "I do. As long as it's her, I have no OCD." Dear God, I was losing my mind. Ethan was too. Pointing at Jasper, he shouted, "Horse, what do you mean? Don't tell me you like Ivy. I'm the one engaged to her." "What?" He dared bring up that no-feeling engagement. Unbearable. Not for 1 second more. My fists clenched so hard my knuckles popped. Before I could leap and slug him, Jasper tugged me behind him. He lifted his gaze to Ethan, every word loaded. "You said you have no feelings. Then I can court her without worry." I stood numb. I didn't know if I was blushing, only that my heart was throwing itself against my ribs and my ears were on fire. In contrast, Ethan's swagger vaporized. He cast me a regret-filled glance. Realizing he had no face left, he spun around and fled. Bang! The New Year fireworks and Ethan's door slam rang out together. Pretty actually. Once the door shut, I stepped out from behind Jasper at once. In awkward politeness, I bowed slightly. "Thanks for playing along and for driving me home last time." That night had been late autumn. The temperature had nosedived after dark, but his car was toasty. I woke up just before 3 a.m. The first thing I noticed was the gray jacket draped over me. Then I spotted Jasper in just a thin hoodie, standing outside making a call. He kept his voice low, afraid of waking me, but the crying on the other end was impossible to miss. I could tell it was a woman, probably his girlfriend. Because of the cold and the phone call, I hadn't had the chance to thank him properly. I simply returned the jacket and waved him off before hurrying upstairs. Only after I turned my bedroom light on did the big guy below slowly pull away. No wonder half the girls on campus chase him. His character leaves Ethan in the dust. Jasper studied me for a long moment, then smiled. "No thanks needed. I volunteered. And didn't you just give me this?" "Huh. Oh." I followed his gaze to the gift box and felt twice as awkward. Giving it was fine. It was just that the thing inside. Ouch. While I wrestled with that, Jasper had already torn off the wrapper in one smooth motion. No time to stop him. When he saw the scarf, he froze, but only for a second, then laughed again. I watched his shoulders and chest shake with laughter. I hid my face in shame. "Stop it." "Okay, I admit I was bragging earlier." "It's great." Jasper pressed his lips together, lifted the messy hand-knit scarf, and gave me a big thumbs up. "Honestly, beautiful work." Liar. My CPU was overheating from the ugliness. Half a month ago, I dragged Chloe to the mall to pick a New Year present. I wanted to buy a scarf. She insisted I buy yarn. She babbled that handmade showed true feelings. Later, she taught me for a week, 6 days of curses, 1 day of actual hits, and we ended up with this thing. Just then, a ding came from outside the stairwell. Sounds like the elevator was fixed. "Ivy," I answered through my hands. Jasper gently tugged my hands down, eyes locking. His gaze darkened as he said, "It's late. Let me take you home." "Okay." 6. Back home, I fired off 3 60-second voice messages to Chloe. The first gave the highlights of tonight. The other 2 were pure Ethan bashing. No immediate reply. I plugged my phone in and headed to the bathroom to wash off my makeup. When I came back, pure-hearted Mantis had sent 30 texts. I folded my hands in gratitude. Thank heavens it wasn't a voice message. I sat at my vanity wiping my face while scrolling. "Sweating bullets yet, bestie? Why did Jasper help you? Don't tell me he's into you." Well, wait. What? If he likes you, why hasn't he said anything? Could it be? This hottie is pulling a secret crush move with that face. Forget the childhood betrothal. Jasper is a university's untouchable ice prince. Go get him. You have to go get him. FYI, I rarely use the word hot to describe a guy's looks. The corner of my eye twitched. I scrolled to the bottom and fired off a video call. The instant she picked up, I jumped in, cutting the nonsense. Jasper probably has a girlfriend. I was desperate. That's why I dragged him into the act. Fine, I'll drop him. But can I talk about you and Ethan? She pouted, rubbing her chin like a detective. Based on my breakup resume, you're more mad than hurt. Have you ever thought maybe because you've never dated anyone better, you funneled every feeling into him? Evie, that's habit, not love. Is it really? I curled up in the chair, quietly replaying the past few years. I had to admit it rang true. Ever since Ethan and I learned about our childhood betrothal, he treated me like his personal property. No mingling with other guys, dragging me everywhere. I told myself it meant he cared, but I'd forgotten loving someone isn't a leash or smooth talk. It's tiny things, self-restraint, willingly losing the upper hand. Seeing my mood crash, Chloe flipped the script. Did you see Ethan's Instagram post? Hilarious. I popped open a split screen, pulled him out of block, and tapped his latest update. My vision went black. Had he been possessed? We both suck at words, hiding truth inside. The days get colder, so does my heart. Pick some middle-aged stranger surnamed when I dropped an F-bomb in the comments and shoved him back into block. Next morning, most of my blanket was yanked off. A wave of cold slapped me awake, eyes shut. I clawed the quilt back and whined, "Mom, I'm still sleeping." The room fell into creepy silence. No smack. Trouble. Mom told someone. She's awake. My heart lurched. I rocketed upright. The first person I saw was Mom. The second was Ethan. He stood frozen in the doorway, chalk white eyes bloodshot, black circles like he'd crawled from a grave, ready to haunt me. The memory of last night flooded back. Annoyance exploded. I grabbed my pillow and hurled it, flailing in my coral fleece honesty. I kicked the mattress. What if I'd been naked? Who said you could charge into my room? He didn't dodge. The pillow staggered him. His smart mouth stayed shut. Why'd you hit him? He just came upstairs. Ethan's sugar-coated tongue had every elder wrapped around his finger. My family adored him. While scolding, Mom tugged my ears. Look at you, bare PJs with a hood. How is that naked? Is the house Antarctica? A small quirk. Every period I freeze like a popsicle. No one knows, not even Mom. Mom's mantra. Village girl turned city wife. Korea, keep family flawless and feed me. When chubby kidney me got an early puberty warning, she cut my food. I lay awake panicking. In high school, watching classmates hook up and stay out. She and Sterling dispatched Ethan as my chauffeur. We're family approved. Childhood betrothal icing. Total peace of mind for them. Tell her I'm cold. She'd unearth Granny's long johns tonight. Out. Out. I need to change. I shooed them. Dressed, I stepped into the living room. Ethan was playing chess with Dad. Without a word, I grabbed his collar. Smile. Sweet. Didn't you need me? Let's talk. He behaved, said goodbye to my parents, and trailed me like a soggy puppy. Karma's will finally spun. Ate at the corner. I hugged my cramping stomach, expressionless, while Ethan fished cilantro out of my bowl. Standard apology to shower me with care. Swear he'll behave. Repeat offense. Last night, Chloe's wake-up call had done its job. His pampering now left me ice cold. Feeling my stare, he cracked. He set the bowl down. Chopsticks offered. All clear. Eat while it's hot. I ignored them. Hunger battling pride. So free, huh? Bet you sneaked to the kitchen and told them to double the cilantro. He slammed his chopsticks down. Loud denial. Half the diners turned. He coughed and lowered his volume. I puked in the bathroom. Too much booze, I muttered. Serves you right. If you're sick, stay home and sleep. Why barge into my house at dawn? What I really meant was no feelings, but you drown in liquor. No feelings, but you chase me at sunrise. I could guess. The person who always orbited you stops orbiting. Anyone would feel the hollow. A bitter smile tugged at his mouth. I said the wrong thing. Did the wrong thing. Sorry, Ivy. The sudden apology stung my nose. I looked away just like Chloe said. Once upon a time I believed I'd marry Ethan, so he took me for granted. I remembered sophomore spring and our huge fight. He'd horsed around on the court with some guys hooting in a circle. It looked like a movie. Just my bad timing. I left with the water bottle. He chased me down, swore the ball had hit her by accident. All he did was apologize, nothing more. I stayed furious because Ethan had never apologized to me. Never. Until now. Silence stretched. Finally, he regained his lazy grin, twirling noodles. Those things I said, I was showing off in front of Jasper. You're not seriously into him, are you? I met his gaze and frowned sharply. Does it matter whether I like him? Seriously matters to you? Of course it does. I cut off his excuse. Matters my butt. You don't care who I like. You're terrified I'll stop revolving around you. Am I wrong? His knuckles whitened around the chopsticks. He stared speechless. Honestly, the only reasons I sat here were my parents watching and my mind finally clear. I fished his house key from my coat pocket, laid it on the table, my voice calm, unaware of the figure now beside us. Stop managing me, Ethan. I treasure the years of friendship, but I'm not option E. I won't listen to your next time promises or circle you like a fool. Go chase whatever you think you want. It won't be me. So, about the childhood betrothal, let's just pretend it never existed. The moment the words left my mouth, I stood up as if a boulder had rolled off my back. Instead, I walked straight into a wall of muscle. 9. My body froze. I instinctively stepped back, tipped my head and met his eyes. The boy's black hair was still damp. Starbright eyes looked down at me, lashes casting a solid shadow. His gaze carried a smile so bright it glittered. I rubbed my eyes twice before I believed I wasn't hallucinating from hunger. Jasper, what are you doing here? What felt even stranger than finding him at the corner beneath my apartment was the scarf looped around his neck. Hell, had Ethan dragged him here for a showdown. He gave a short hum, then lifted the plastic bag in his hand and hooked a thumb over his shoulder. My sister swears this place has the best noodles. The night I drove you home and you drunk dialed me, sobbing. Oh right. His sister. I followed his finger. In the far corner, a girl was already watching me, chin propped in one hand, grinning ear to ear. While I nodded a greeting, Ethan suddenly shoved to his feet. His chair screeched across the tiles. His face was the color of old ash, voice wire-tight. All this talk about ending the betrothal, admit it. You just want to wreck it so you can be with him, right? The first half I didn't bother denying. The second half left me speechless. Ivy, answer me. Between him and me, who do you pick? Then his eyes snapped sideways, drilling into Jasper, lips shaking with fury. Jasper, ever since you transferred into my dorm and called yourself one of the guys, you've had an agenda, haven't you? Each sentence he fired off drew more stares. My toes tried to dig a trench inside my sneakers. I still cared about the older generation's feelings and wanted to settle things quietly. But Ethan, he was losing his mind. While I prayed for the floor to swallow me, Jasper laced his fingers through mine. A prickling current raced up my arm. Startled, I whipped my head around, ignoring Ethan. Jasper kept his eyes on me. He smiled, voice dropped to a velvety rumble. You were rubbing your stomach and hands the minute you walked in, so I ran to the mini-mart and grabbed heat patches. Want me to stick one on later? I glanced at the plastic bag on the table. My heart performed a drum solo. I'd sat across from Ethan forever, and he'd never noticed. Jasper, tucked in a corner, had seen in one glance. Last night's words replayed. If he really feels nothing, then I can finally catch you without guilt. My cheeks went from warm to scolding. He's seriously planning to court me. Otherwise, why take care of me like this? Ethan, fed up with being wallpaper, thrust a hand in front of my face, almost pleading. Let me drive you home and brew brown sugar tonic. Okay. I stared at him coldly. His eyes were bloodshot. I cut him down without mercy. Pass. I own heat patches. Ivy, I'm serious. I cut him off. Chin high enough. Stop throwing a tantrum. The moment the words landed, Ethan's expression fractured. He withdrew his hand like a puppet with cut strings and slouched away. Jasper had skipped his own noodles to buy me heat patches. I felt awful, so I went over, greeted his sister, and ordered bowls of noodles and side dishes. His sister looked delighted. No, she beamed like an auntie shipping her idol's romance. I'm Hannah, Jasper's older sister. You must be Ivy. I nodded awkwardly. You know me. Of course, she began. Jasper beside me suddenly coughed into a fist. I passed him my glass of warm water. His face and ears were flushed. Hannah picked up smoothly. Of course I didn't. I just heard him say your name. After breakfast with the two of them, I finally felt human again. I went to settle the bill, but the owner flicked the receipt. Both tables were already paid. Who paid? The cute guy with the scarf by the door. I turned. Hannah nudged Jasper's arm and told me, I've got errands. Have fun, you two. By pure instinct, I knew Hannah had misread the situation. I stepped forward to clarify, but Jasper blocked me. Wind's cold outside, he said, wrapping the scarf around my neck. Keeps you warm. Watching Hannah head for the door, I panicked. Jasper, shouldn't we explain to her? She's got the wrong idea. He fastened the hood of my down jacket, unruffled. No need. He doesn't care if people misunderstand. Reading my face, he said softly, every time she breaks up, she calls me at 3 a.m. If she thinks I have a girlfriend, maybe she'll stop. Light bulb. So we were helping each other. Win-win cooperation. Crap. And here I thought he actually liked me. When Jasper pulled up to the restaurant curb, my phone buzzed. Come outside. The WhatsApp contact showed a single Chinese character. Only then did I realize we were even connected on WhatsApp. When had that happened? Inside the car, I slipped off the scarf and handed him cold tablets. You were coughing. Take one. Works fast. He hesitated, cheeks coloring, and asked when I'd bought them. I passed him a bottle of water, smug. While you went to get the car, I ducked next door and grabbed them. Seeing him stare, I shook the bottle. Swallow. Not bitter. If it is, I'll buy candy. Sick people need medicine, right? Jasper chuckled, half-laugh. He tilted his head back, eyes closed. When they opened again, he unclicked his seat belt in one move, leaned in and curved a hand behind my neck, pulling me into an embrace. His hot palm soothed slow circles on my back. The air turned thick with something unnamed. The water bottle slipped from my hand. I felt dizzy yet hyper-aware of my burning face. Before I could react, Jasper exhaled against my ear. Didn't I tell you to wait inside? Where it's warm. If you keep doing things like this, I won't be able to hold back. His voice shook as if he were fighting himself. I couldn't believe it. Did that mean he liked me? But why? We attended the same university. Yes, but different majors. Our paths rarely crossed. The only reason I knew him was Ethan dragging me to countless guys' nights. Could it be his entire friendship with Ethan had actually been about me? At that thought, I bit my lip. Before the question could leave my mouth, the mood shattered. My ringtone blared the Smuff theme, Chloe's idea. She insisted it screamed clown girl. I shoved Jasper away and almost dove under the seat to answer. Ivy, get home now. Mr. and Sterling are here. I didn't even manage a syllable. Mom roared and hung up. Jasper said nothing, only ruffled my hair. Then started the engine to drive me home. Hands trembling, I texted Chloe for help. What do I do? Is Mom going to murder me? She replied, probably not. Marriage isn't dodgeball. How can you play if you don't like the teammate? Sound logic. Absolutely sound. Before I knew it, we stopped in front of my building. Be safe, I said, reaching for the door, but Jasper caught my wrist. Want me to come up? Will they scold you? I shook my head firmly. They're reasonable people. After I finished talking with Ethan, I'd known this day would come. Both families had been flipping the almanac lately. My sudden move would drive them crazy. I just never expected Ethan to be the one who broke the news first. After a few seconds, Jasper let go of my wrist and nodded. Go on. I'll wait for the good news. I didn't overthink it. Okay. The house felt dead. The elders sat on the sofa in silence. Only Ethan paced in tight circles. A bad premonition prickled my stomach. Had the jerk shoved all the blame onto me? Sure enough, Dad slapped the coffee table, face dark. You were all there when we discussed the engagement. Now where did this extra boyfriend come from? Explain. How do I face Sterling? Mom chimed in. If you disagreed, you should have spoken earlier. Ethan treats you so well. Even if you don't like him, don't string him along. I looked at Ethan. He wouldn't meet my eyes. Sterling pulled me down beside her. It's fine, really. We're not here to scold. Ethan dragged us over without clarifying. He says he doesn't want to break the betrothal. Ivy, what's in your heart? Auntie respects your choice. She'd always been good to me like a real daughter. When we were kids and Ethan bullied me, she'd smack him without hesitation. She hasn't changed. I have. Afraid he'd be scolded, I hadn't tattled in years. Feeling rusty, I mined every sad memory I owned for several minutes, then burst into noisy tears, shocking everyone. Clutching my chest, I spilled everything. Middle school to college, ending with last night's. I don't feel anything. I embellished and omitted nothing. Ethan lunged twice to stop me. I shook him off, sobbing too hard to breathe. I talked so fast no one could cut in. Finally, I collapsed across Mom's lap. She petted my back, murmuring, Okay, no wedding, silly girl. If you're bullied, come home and tell us. I popped up like a spring and jabbed a finger at Ethan. It was him. He wouldn't let me speak. The moment Sterling heard that, he stood and kicked Ethan square in the butt. So this is how I taught you to treat girls. Starting tomorrow until classes begin, your allowance is cut. Get back to Sterling and spend 2 months on the ranch. Another kick followed. No feelings. And you dragged me here swearing you won't break it off. Get lost now. Ethan sprawled over the side table, too stunned to speak. He fears his father. He fears being broke even more, so he surrendered. Winter dusk blurred in early. While dinner smoke curled outside, frost flowers bloomed on the window. As Ethan's car rolled towards Sterling, both families gathered to cook hot pot. Mid-meal, Mom cornered me in the kitchen, whispering, asking what my boyfriend looked like. Crap. Only then did I realize I hadn't replied to Jasper's WhatsApp. I snatched my phone and sprinted out, past the lobby door. My thumb froze over the call button. Under the dim street lamp stood Jasper, wiping his hands finger by finger, meticulous. The scene yanked me back years after senior finals. Bored at home, I'd spent a week at Grandma's farm. The night before I left, a downpour hit. I ducked under my umbrella toward the supermarket and noticed a lanky boy in an oversized tee. No umbrella, black cap and mask hiding everything. Yet the slump of his shoulders screamed restless helplessness. That day he'd wiped his hands exactly like now. When I came out with snacks, he'd almost used up a whole pack of tissues. Curious, I listened to the boys sheltering nearby. Damn OCD. My kid's sister holding his hand should be an honor. City kids put on airs. Without Daddy's money, I'd beat the freak every time I saw him. But what sin is OCD? It's an uncontrollable tide. Seeing him still scrubbing raw skin, I stepped closer, umbrella raised, and offered alcohol wipes. Use these. I'll hold the umbrella so nothing gets dirty. He flicked me a glance. No visible expression, but anxiety cracked his voice. You don't think I'm sick? I shrugged, hand over my mouth like sharing a secret. I've got a thing too. I can't stand notification dots. If one pops, I have to clear it. Sometimes you just can't, right? I giggled. So I delete the whole app. Try touching something you love instead of washing. We talked in the rain until late. He said I was the first person who didn't label his quirk. Before parting, we swapped WhatsApp. He reimbursed me for the wipes and promised, "See you next time." I answered, "Sure," thinking, next time? Not happening. Then forgot all about it after one sleep. And Jasper, his hand stilled. Oddly, he wouldn't look at me. I darted closer and caught the red swelling on his right cheek. You fought someone? The words weren't out before Ethan's retreating car flashed through my mind. My eyes burned. Ethan hit you? Why the hell? I fumbled for my phone, fury shaking my voice. But Jasper caught my wrist and folded me into his arms. It's okay. I hit him back. Using him to reach you was wrong, and letting you be bullied earned him worse. I couldn't picture this calm man throwing punches. Much later, I learned Jasper's bruise was a love tap next to Ethan's damage. Sniffling, I locked my arms around his waist and finally asked, "You love me? Why stay quiet?" A soft laugh brushed my ear. How could I? You didn't even remember me, and you were engaged to Ethan. I couldn't exactly be the side guy. I jerked back, blinking fast. It's canceled, honestly. Eyes locked, his gaze sank to my lips. He bent, giving himself only the briefest taste. I heard the winter wind howl, yet my cheeks burned. Then I said, "I'll marry you." The gust died. Only those two words looped in my head. Marry you. Sometime later he ushered me into the back seat. He warmed my hands between his and asked, "May I kiss you?" I'm not easy. Teasing done, I leaned in and kissed his cool lips. Before I could retreat, his palm sealed to the back of my head, a dam bursting. His kiss turned hungry, reckless. In the hush I heard every breath, every soft collision. I don't know how many years Jasper's secret crush lasted, but I know he will love me for all the years still to come. The end.